Happy Purim! Hag Purim Sameakh!
Welcome to Make Your Own Purim Pizza. What you need to make your pizza is a rolling pin, a spatula or two,
Scissors.
cutter and scissors, a small brush, any size, and 2 cooking pans, cooking sheets.
Good. The first
And your pizza box from the lights.
Right. Open up that pizza box and take out, and let's see what we got in there. We've got some oil with garlic. We've got some tomato sauce. We've got some red onion. We've got some calamari olives. We've got some
Flour,
We've got some
cheese.
You'll have
cheddar.
mozzarella cheese, but we have some cheddar cheese because we wanted to make sure we had enough for you guys. And we've got some dough, and challah has been taken from it.
Oregano and pepperoncinis.
Pepperoncinis. Also, very important, we have a piece of baking paper. First thing you're going to do is turn your oven on to 500 and place one pan inside your oven, because we're going to slide the pizza into the oven onto an already hot sheet. This will make for a crispier crust. So here I go. I'm putting the pan in the oven, and I'm putting my oven on to 500. So the first thing we're going to do now, after we have our oven on and our one sheet in the oven, is to roll out the dough. You've got a little bit of flour here, and the first thing we're going to do is to find a good surface and to take a little bit of that flour, not so much, and sprinkle it out. Okay, just a little bit of flour, a little bit on your hands. Then you're going to take out your dough. Depending upon how your dough feels, either you may need to kind of rip the entire bag, or you can, if you feel like you want to save the bag, you can just kind of reach in and grab it. Again, we made a lot of dough and we took challah from it, so the Kohanim are happy, don't worry. So here we go. So we've got our dough here, and the first thing, I'm going to take a pinch of flour and try to make my dough into a ball. Once it's in a ball, then, and you've got enough dough for probably 1 or 2 pizzas, but we're going to pretend like you have about as much dough as I have. First thing we're going to do is push down. Now, what I like to do when I roll is the last thing I do, I always flip, and I take a pinch of flour, put it in the middle, and kind of go like that. Now I flip. Okay, since it's round, now I'm going to take my rolling pin and go one time, not so much. Okay, so it's a little one time this way, one time this way. It didn't do much that first time. Take a little bit of flour, just a pinch, roll it like that, and turn it over. Okay, another thing you can do to speed up this process is to make little dents. Little dents all around, that always helps. That's probably even enough for this round, so I'm going to take another pinch of flour, put it in, and over. Here we go. Rolling out, it's getting much easier this time. Roll out in one direction, roll out in another direction, another direction. Done that side, so I'm going to little pinch, spin it all around, and over. This is King Arthur flour, some of my favorite flour to use. Again, I'm kind of doing that thing. And then I'm going to roll once in this direction, once in that direction. Sometimes if you feel like the dough isn't moving for you, you can always just let it sit in that kind of spot. And just by sitting, it's going to get even more elastic. But you've got enough dough here to make a really good pizza, a really nice sized pizza. Went one time in this direction, so now it's starting to get less sticky. Okay, pinch, turn around, and over. Again, a little bit of that finger work. and sing a few Purim songs. Mordechai yatsa milifnei hamelech בלבוש מלכות ועטרת זהב, ומרדכי יצא מלפני המלך בלבוש מלכות ועטרת זהב. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון v'ikar. So we're doing well here. By the way, if you get a little tear or something like that, don't worry about it. Oh, I did that wrong there. You just kind of put it back together. It's okay if there are some holes. Now, by the way, we're going to want this. Eventually, what we're going to want to do, just so you know, as far as your shape goes, we're going to want to take a pan like this and turn it over like this. We're going to want to be able to put our parchment paper on this because that's going to slide into the oven. So then we're going to want to be able to pick this dough up and kind of place it on to here. And, right, so I've got that size right here. But, I mean, I can roll it out a little bit more. I definitely know I can. So, but I'm going to be limited because I don't want the sides flopping off like that. But I can go a little bit this way and a little bit this way. So I'm going to go a little bit more onto my table. So I'm just do it a little bit more. Now it's starting to actually look like a pizza. Okay, again, every time I do this with it's just kind of, it gets thinner, but it actually, for some reason, it kind of works a little bit better. And then remember, I'm not kind of trying to incorporate those pieces of that bit of flour into the dough. I'm just using it so it doesn't stick when I do this on the other side. Okay, so I'm getting close. And I once watched at a kind of a fair how people did this, and this was pretty much it. And at the end, they knew their dough was ready because they could basically go like this, kind of like flip it up and then just put it away, and then they could bring it out and then, oh look, it was all ready to go, right? So that's kind of like your dough is like so beautifully workable in that kind of way. All right, so here we go. So that's actually looking a little bit like my pan that I'm going to place it in. So my pan is a little bit long and more like that. All right, so here we go. So now I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to place my piece of dough onto that pan. You know, and that's pretty good, right? I mean, maybe I could have gone a little bit more in these directions, but all right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my oil and garlic powder, and I'm going to take a scissors, and I'm going to cut just a little corner of this to kind of use it as a little spigot. So I'm going to cut my corner off. Then I'm going to go around the edge. This is going to be my crust, and it's going to be really nice and tasty. All right, so here's my crust. Okay, so I put out my oil, and now I'm going to go back with my brush. Here comes my brush, and I'm going to kind of brush my oil just around kind of the edge area to see how that works, right? Right. This will make for a nice crunchy edge that you can kind of have a crust. Great. Great. Make sure you look at all the hechsher marks on the sign in the pizza box. It should be right. It will be right here. So if there are any hechshers that you don't follow, then just don't use that ingredient and kind of substitute. So okay, and here we go for the. But I think most of it is OU. So our sauce, we're going to use the same way. I think it'll get too messy if you try to open up the sauce. So again, I'm going to use my scissors, cut a little edge right there, and I'm just going to kind of pour it into the middle. So I guess the one thing we forgot was, and maybe I'll just pour it around as well. One thing we forgot was the was a spoon, where you use kind of the back of a spoon to kind of turn it all around. All right, back of a spoon to turn it all around to kind of get it everywhere. Okay, now if you don't like crust at all, then kind of get it even in that area there. Okay. Now you've got your, now let's go to some of our ingredients. So we've got your cheese. And again, you've got that kosher mozzarella from Costco here. I'm just using a cheddar just to make sure that we have enough of the other stuff for you guys. So, okay. Okay, so you got your cheese on there, and I'm gonna now take my oregano and put my oregano on as well. And now you get to decide, do you like olives? Do you like putting my onions on, putting my olives on, and putting my pepperoncinis on if that's what I want. These onions, by the way, were cut with a dairy knife, so if you don't use the onions for pizza, just make sure you're using it for dairy. And I'm going to put some pepperoncinis on here. You want to try them first before you put them on to see if you like that kind of spice. And you've got your olives. I'm not going to put any on here, but you could put them on. They're calamari. That's good stuff, right? So here we are, ready to put our pizza in the oven. As you see, it's on this little tray here, back of a cookie sheet. And if I kind of do this a little bit, you can see it's shaking. And that's good, because that's the kind of movement we want as it slides onto the sheet. It's going to be it. If I open up my oven, if you see, you can open up my oven and you can see that there is there's the challah that I took, and there is the pizza tray that I'm going to put it on. So here we go. My oven is right now at 440. It's a very slow oven, so I'm just going to kind of put it in at this point. Then I'm going to kind of leave it for 8 minutes in the oven. So here we go. You can watch as I kind of put it in. So I'm going to kind of almost touch the other tray with this, and then I'm going to kind of slide towards the back of it, and then I'm going to kind of slide this off as I go. Let's see if my technique is as good as I'm saying. Here we go. All right. So here we go. There you go. In the oven. Done. 8 minutes. Oops. Put it on here. Timer. See you in 8 minutes, everyone. Well, it's done. Let's check it out. I feel like it needs a little bit more time. I'm going to put it in for 2 more minutes. Maybe 3. See you in 3 minutes, everyone. Okay, everyone, so here we go. We're ready to take it out. I've got my pizza slicer ready. I've got my pan that I'm going to place on it. I've got this big spatula, but you can take a smaller spatula as well. So I'm going to open up my oven, and I see my pizza here. I'm going to get underneath the parchment paper, maybe even take a hold of it there, and bring it out. And, right, so I've got my, right, so I got this. I can kind of take out the parchment paper. I can use it again, use it for my next pizza. I'm going to make some cuts here. Really kind of, if you're using a pizza cutter, cut down 1, 2, I mean, then you're going to kind of wait for it to cool. Let's see how we did here. Yeah, I mean, that's a pizza. Happy Purim, everyone.